Thank you, Mark. Thank you so much. It's always great to present with you at Dataversity demos. Thank you for everything. Love your energy. Uh, a very good morning to everyone. Afternoon to some of you. I am Nadeem Siddiqui, Solution Strategist at Quest. I thank you for joining me today to explore the topic of govern your way to AI-ready data and business value. And my slide is not moving for some reason. Okay. So since the Gen AI went mainstream, we've been asked to deliver AI data, ensure ROI, and optimize data-driven culture swiftly. AI is impacting everything, and the hype is undeniable. More than half of the CEOs believe that AI is the technology that will significantly impact their industry over the next 3 years. However, lack of trust has been a major roadblock in delivering the value of AI. And it's not just lack of trust in AI, it's lack of trust in the data behind AI. We need to establish trust in the value of our data. We need to have trustworthy data. The need is for consistent, context-based, clean, and curated data sets. Consistent because it ensures that data remains accurate, aligned, and meaningful when used for decision-making through self-service. Context-based because that ensures that the data is relevant and actionable with a particular scenario. And curation because that involves the process of selecting, organizing, enriching, and maintaining data to ensure quality, relevance, and usability for specific business needs. It is a critical aspect of data governance and data marketplace strategies, ensuring that users can easily discover and trust the data they consume. And who does not need clean data, right? Data that is free from errors, inconsistencies, and redundancies, ensuring that it is accurate, complete, and reliable for analytics and AI. With Urban Data Intelligence Solution, we have the means to facilitate the delivery of consistent, context-based, curated, and clean data sets. At Urban by Quest, we have a clear path to provide organizations with ways and means to maximize the value of data with these 7 steps. Because we recommend a model-first approach, everything begins with data modeling, and then carefully cataloged with the help of a broad range of out-of-the-box connectors that we have. Curated with business context and governed by applying policies and rules. Data quality brings in the means to observe your data and help score it. And that builds trust in data and provides well-governed, high-quality, trusted data available for business users to shop, share, compare in the marketplace. We are working on providing reliable AI-ready data. Now, how do we do that? We're aligning data and defining use cases around it. We're tying it to purpose or intent, guidelines around it, and tie it to the scores. We govern it right starting from the modeling phase itself, identifying classifications, map business and technical, and facilitate collaboration. And finally, we constantly observe data for changes and anomalies. And one of my previous sessions was specifically on data observability and data quality. Now, this is very in line to the 7 steps methodology that we've been evangelizing. And this is applied to have Urban certified AI models available for use. And you'll see part of that as part of our demonstration today as well. Data value score is very important, is a quantitative measure of the usefulness, quality, and impact of a data set, data product, or AI model. It helps organizations assess whether their data sets are fit for purpose, ensuring trust, usability, and business impact. With the Irwin Data Intelligence, we automatically populate data value scores, and I'll show that to you as part of the demonstration by measuring it against data quality, user ratings, completeness, relevance, data sources, popularity, timeliness, scarcity, and life cycle. This, a few screenshots over here that you're seeing are a revamped visualization of the highly personalized marketplace, providing user-specific insights. And as I said, we'll show that to you as part of our demonstration today. And before we go into the demonstration, the final thing that I want to talk about is the Irwin portfolio. So with Irwin Data Intelligence, through its portfolio of broad components and capabilities, provides an integrated platform, a one-stop solution. The data modeling product that has been there for 30 plus years, loved by enterprise data architects, helps you create logical, physical, conceptual models, start governance at the architecture layer itself. And there is a unique integration that exists between the data modeler and the data intelligence suite. Data catalog, of course, allows you to govern your technical assets and enrich them and increase their availability and discoverability. There's an integrated data quality. Data lineage helps you investigate your data flows, monitor health of your pipelines through our homegrown connectors. And these connectors, as I said, are homegrown, owned by us, developed by us, managed and maintained by us. Data literacy helps curate and govern everything through workflow processes and have stewardship set up to ensure accountability across the organization. And finally, the marketplace becomes the entry point for self-service for business users. With that, let's go ahead and get a sneak peek of the solution that we have at this point in time. So right now, what I'm showing you all is the entry point into the data intelligence solution is the marketplace. And this, as I said, is revamped, much enriched. What you're seeing is all of the different assets that are available for discovery. So the process of discovery starts right from here. I highlighted on a point that it's highly customizable. So I'm logging in as an admin, I can see everything that's available, but it's not for every user. They can have customized screens, probably based on access as well. So the customization of each of these screens is available as well. Now, with all of the different assets available, our focus for today's demonstration is around AI. So let's look at one of the assets documented in the marketplace, the AI models. Right on the front screen itself, the solution is giving us an overview about what are some of the top viewed AI models, what are some of the classifications on those models which are highly popular or most used, popular tags, data value scores. I talked about the importance of those. What are some of the data value scores and the statistics around them? And this is the newly introduced maturity level of your AI models, which helps you assess whether your model is at the beginning stages, whether it's an expert, whether it's at the intermediary level. And we'll also explore how the solution is evaluating all of these, and we'll tie back to the presentation that I showed you as well. So from this rich front screen itself, where we are evaluating everything, where we are looking at an overview of everything that's documented, in this case today for presentation today, AI models, let's go ahead and begin the process of browsing. Now, as soon as I start browsing, the solution gives me an inventory of all of the different AI models that are documented. So I have churn prediction models, I have fraud detection models. And right by looking at it, with the enrichment aspects around it, the solution is telling me, does it have PII data within it? What are some of the tags around it? Whether this model went through a workflow process of completion. You see some of them have pending review. Some of them are in the published state. Some of them are just, draft, just started. And then the data value scoring of silver, bronze, gold, which highly influences the user to trust this AI model or not. So the lack of trust that we were talking about from An AI's perspective, which is a roadblock for adoption. When you have data value scores around it, which tell you that this has a gold data value score around it, which means this can be trusted, it's fit for use, and also its maturity level is marked as expert. Now, if I go ahead and click on it, what happens? You see that it's expert, but it's still completed the 5 out of 7 steps in the 7 steps, if you remember, where we're talking about modeling, curation, cataloging, governing, scoring, right? And then making it available as part of the marketplace. And if you look at it, what is it talking about? Were data models around this AI model identified? Was it modeled? Was the data around this model, AI model, created using the data modeler? Was there governance at the architecture layer itself? Did we identify the sources? The model is well curated or not? At this layer, you do not have that check, which means this is still under evaluation or probably not evaluated. Policies and rules are linked. It says a check. Inputs identified. So all of those 7 steps that I talked about in the process of having Irwin certified AI models, you can see right over here that whether those checks are being met or not. And all of these 7 points that you're seeing, which have been, 5 of them have been met or not. How do we validate that these have been met? So for that, one of our key features, the mind map that we've been, using probably from a very long time, loved by the business users specifically because it adds context. Now, with everything that we saw over here in these steps, if you want to evaluate that, we bring up the mind map. Now, the mind map with these abbreviations, before I expand it and show you more details around it, if I expand the mind map, it has these abbreviations. The legends on the top right tell me what these abbreviations stands for, right? So TA is my tables, data sets, EN, environments, or models if it's linked to. Now, let me expand this AI mind map. As soon as I expand the mind map, it starts to give me more context around the churn prediction AI model. As part of that certification process, one of the steps was a model identified. You can see that there is an association to a customer churn BIM, which is business information model, right? So that was created around the data that's feeding your churn prediction model. The sources have been identified, but we did not see a certification on the quality of all of the sources, right? Because only one of the sources has been scored or profiled or being observed for data. So, that's the level of detail that the solution is going to look into certifications and things like that. And on the right-hand side, more importantly, apart from what we've been doing, which is in addition to giving you information about the technical associations, where is this data coming from? We've been, also associating things like with an AI model, what are the AI risk policies, that are associated to it. And what we're doing now, we are associating our AI models to use cases, right? So what's a use case for which this model is being used? So there's a churn prediction, domain within which I have customer lifetime value prediction and predictive analysis for churn prevention. So these are the use cases for which the churn prediction model is coming in handy. So that's the level of detail that an end user or a consumer, a person who's logged into the solution to discover, to analyze, your AI models. I'm giving you an example of an AI model. You can do the same thing around a data product, a data set as well, right? But again, AI model, because it's the topic of the day today, and wanted to ensure how the solution helps build trust in your models. Now, from here, all of these associations, all of these, information that you're seeing, tables, data models, AI risk policies, use cases, these are not static labels. these are navigable assets. So if I want to investigate how data is coming into my, lake, which is, gold. So if I'm using a Mendelian architecture, bronze, silver, gold, right? What do I have over here? I have one of these data sets. From the mind map about my AI model, I can now navigate to that particular data set and start to investigate lineage. And again, I'll do that again. With the click of a button, I am able to investigate the horizontal technical lineage, how data flows throughout the landscape, where the model came in, how data is flowing throughout the landscape, where does the model come in, what are some of the reports that are being generated out of the data that's being populated. And anyone who's seen a demonstration before knows that lineage has always been one of our strengths. I've mentioned that the connectors to different sources, whether you have your data in Databricks or Snowflake or any other source for that matter, we have 70 or 80 plus connectors today that go out from data sources to ETLs to reporting layers and connect everything together to give you an end-to-end visualization. And not just that, we go to the extent of extracting transformations and giving you a visualization of transformations as part of the lineage as well. So from investigating my lineage, my AI models to, and what's the purpose of it, whether this is an Irwin certified model or not, to understanding how it's being certified using the AI match, using the mind map. And from there, getting into the nitty-gritties of investigating lineage, the solution helps you throughout the process. And one other thing that you see over here, in addition to lineage, is things like impact analysis. There's data quality score. So when we talk about impact analysis and lineage, we're of course referring to the data from where, which is feeding your models. And there's also data quality score, which is available. So that's the piece that let's talk about now, right? How are we looking at the quality of data? How are we observing all of the data that's feeding my models? What are we doing that? So for that, we have our data quality component. And I would want to start right over here, which is, I would say, the highlight of the data quality component, which is the observability of it. So with this example, what we are doing is we are trying to, or we are rather looking at the drift in the data over a period of time. And we're seeing how the threshold breached and the solution adjusted with the threshold breaches and how it's being represented. So this observability, this measure is not restricted to just a few data quality measures. You can select observability for a vast range of data quality measures, which could be out of the box. You could create your own specific data quality measures and observe for changes and anomalies against them as well. Now, this screen is interesting because to begin with, the solution alerts you about the fact that there have been threshold breaches with the expected range that was defined. And when it alerts you, the keyword over here is proactive. So the alerting that's happening is proactive. You are not supposed to go in and identify what's wrong with your sources. The solution is automatically doing that for you. It's automatically alerting you. And from here itself, with this option for issues, what you can do is trigger an issue management system, which integrates to ticketing systems like Jira, to Slack. And from here, what also can be done is the person looking at these issues assign it to someone who can go ahead and work on fixing that issue that has been identified. So We started off with the data observability option as part of, being able to track and monitor what's happening with my data. And from there, we talked about the fact that the monitoring process is proactive. The alerting process is proactive, right? And the fact that from the alerting mechanism itself, the solution gives you the capability to create issue management systems as well, right? And if I were to show this again over here, what I was not able to click previously, you can see who are the other people working on the solution, who have access to the solution. So you can assign it to someone who can go ahead and fix this issue that the solution has identified for us and given us information about, right? So I wanted to start off and talk about data quality specifically from an observability perspective, because that's what's different. But again, if I were to give you an information about what else do I have, within my data quality module, of course, the capability to connect to different sources. And if I were to drill down at the most granular level, show you that, we are at the dataset level looking for, reliability checks that you see over here. And if you want to drill down at the most granular level, we are, of course, looking at data quality dimensions, right? We're looking, when we are generating any data quality result that you see, it's being looked at for dimensions, so completeness, accuracy. The solution also gives you patterns. It gives you the frequencies, the profiling aspects of it. And again, the highlight is that what we are observing against, a lot of those measures and checks are available to us out of the box. So your data engineers or your data quality experts do not necessarily need to go in and code. All that they need to do is activate a measure that you want to start evaluating your sources for. And if you want that to use against, scoring, you can do that. And if you want to also look for observability, go ahead and monitor it against that particular measure. So out of the box measures, looking at data quality dimensions and patterns, and finally, the capability to create your own custom measures as well. So this is a fine example of that, where what we are doing is we've added a specific measure for the birth date column over here. Of course, this is for the purposes of demonstration. So we're looking at a subset of 99 records based on the measure that was applied. 81 records are valid, they're coming back as valid, and 18 records are invalid. So the solution not only is giving me results around it, it's also telling me or giving me statistics around valid and invalid records, a percentage of how the scoring is given. And then I can also do a preview of that data. Now, I think it's important for me to highlight that whenever we talk about data quality, we, from a framework perspective, have taken this approach of not bringing in data and storing it in the backend repository of our data quality component. So that's not something that we do today. We do not store your data. At any point in time where you see a preview, it's a read-only preview of the data that we are looking at. And of course, with role-based access and security, I'm logged in as a super user, as an admin, so I'm able to see everything. But through role-based security, of course, things like fields which have been flagged for PII identification, they will be masked. So today we query against a source and bring back the metadata with the results on top of it. Now, why I spend quite some time on the data quality aspect is because data quality plays a key role as part of the data value scoring, as part of the certification, right? Certification process that I talked about towards the beginning of the session, right? Whether the sources have been identified or not. And when we are identifying those sources, we're also trying to see the scores around the identified sources, right? And the fact that today the solution is not just doing basic profiling and observability, but also going into the details of, proactively alerting you. And these alerts are not just within the solution, but through email notifications and things like that. That makes it even more interesting. Now we talked about, how using the marketplace, you can discover any asset. We focus today on the AI models, but the focus could be on data products. It could be data sets. So the marketplace, as I said, enables the process of discovery, self-service, shop, and compare as well. So if I were to compare within the, within the available results that are provided for me, there is easy ways and means for me to do that. I can use some of these buttons and compare one AI model against the other. I would more likely do so for one data set against the other, or one data product against the other. But just to show you functionality, because we're right on that screen, the capability to go ahead and, compare your assets, right? That's something that's been made available for our users as part of the marketplace. And when we talk about data products and data sets, the capability, when you're discovering something, what do you want at the end of it? If we can trust what we are discovering and what we're looking for, I would need access to that asset, right? So from here itself, the solution, and this I think becomes the final piece of my presentation, is from being able to discover something and analyze something, what do I do after that? I want to use it. So using the marketplace capability, I would go ahead and create a request access for that particular asset, right? In this case, it's an AI model, but as I said, right, the marketplace is also the marketplace for data products and data sets. So you can go ahead, request access for those assets, specify a valid reason of why do you need access to that asset. And then the people who are having the authority or the access to provide, other people accesses, the request really lands in their bucket. There is a dedicated action center that is available for each individual, whether read user, whether write user. All of those individuals have access to this dedicated action center, from where they can monitor the requests that they are putting in, or the requests that are coming their way. So that facilitates the mechanism for people requesting access and getting, access to their request as well, right? And again, the solution also provides mechanism for any user to go ahead and, in addition to just requesting access, suggest changes, identify issues, and take actions accordingly. So in addition to just requesting access, you can create issue items. If you've identified an issue or discrepancy somewhere, you can create a to-do item to ask someone to add more enrichment aspects around a certain asset, or even propose the creation of a certain asset through the marketplace itself, right? So this mechanism also allows you for the suggestion of, okay, go ahead and create something new that would fit a particular business requirement. So with that, I think I would close off my part of the presentation and open it up, Mark, for questions and answers.
Yeah.
Because I think, with my topics, I've hit the mark with most of those things.
when we do have a couple of questions here and there.
Mhm.
Well, you've got your screen open. I think when you were showing the data quality tool, one
Mhm.
questioner was asking, what does active indicate on the properties tab in the dataset view?
Sure. Great eye for detail. So active really indicates whether you are at this point in time using this measure or not, right? And to my point of, no code automation, all that a data engineer needs to do, or anyone who is, evaluating or working on the data quality component needs to do, is make sure that this button is activated, which will then start utilizing this particular data quality measure, and consider that as part of the evaluation also, if you've enabled scoring as well.
Great. You said since lineage is a core strength, does the lineage feature extend beyond traditional data assets into AI ML pipelines? Can it trace lineage for even for model artifacts themselves?
Yes, and at this point in time, with one of the lineage that I showed as part of my model over here, I think that's an example of that as well. But of course, if anyone needs more detailed demonstrations, we are always open for live demonstration as well.
Does the model show any architectural elements like whether it's a Python or Java um, or a data model? Like so in the lineage piece, does it show what it is, not just where it is?
We document all of that information right at the focus screen itself, so you can get a lot of information about whether what technology, what information, what source code, right? All of that information is captured on the focus screen itself for you. Mhm.
Oh, so many questions coming in. What is the difference between mind map and data lineage?
That's a great question, because a lot of times when I bring up a mind map, people say, "Oh, that's the lineage." So mind map, if I were to define it, it's more of business lineage versus the actual horizontal technical lineage, which gives you the data flow or helps you monitor or visualize your data pipelines. Mind map versus just that technical lineage is more of a holistic view, right? Because if I expand it again, and thank you for bringing that question, and Mark for putting that out over here, the mind map helps you answer a lot of questions apart from just monitoring your pipelines or seeing how data flows, right? The left hand side of the mind map with technical associations, if you look at it and if you dissect it, it talks about what data do I have and where is that data. So I have data around churn information, and that data is available in my delta lake. Do I have any models around it? Yes, I do. Are there sensitive data indicators? Yes, I have. What's the quality of data? It's 30.131%, not that great at this point in time. So on the technical side, it's telling me what data do I have? Where is that data? What's the quality of data? Do I have sensitive data or not? That's just on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, it's talking about more so from a governance aspect, because this is an AI model. So are there AI risk policies associated to it? Are there any, data sets around it? As you see over here, there's a customer churn feature store, a churn feature store, data set associated around it. So this is more contextual than just, the traditional uh, technical lineage.
Awesome. Well, there's a couple of really good questions here.
Sure, please go
Um,
ahead.
let's oh, I'm excited to hear all your answers. Uh, I'm going to ask this one. Are there any courses, trainings that Irwin offers for experienced architects who have not yet worked with Irwin? Do you have some resources online for folks?
Yes, so I think that question was specifically for the data modeling solution. Yes,
Hmm.
there are videos available on YouTube. We do have a channel as well, and then there are user group communities, so you can join that and be part of that as well.
Getting back into the tool, um,
Mhm.
can you show how data access request fulfillment processes get implemented in the data intelligence suite?
So that's a great question, and this is more so on the development part of it because when we implemented or when we started implementing the data access request process, everyone has a different use case around it. Some people say that when you request an access from here, it should integrate with the ServiceNow and facilitate the process as such. Some people would say, okay, from here, when we are requesting access for a data set, we need access to an XYZ source, and if that's a possibility or probably a view for that. So that part of it has been left from an implementation point of view based on use cases. So from here, I can definitely show you that if you want to request access to any particular asset, is as simple as clicking on the button which says request access, providing the name of your request, giving a valid reason around it, and then if what you're seeing over here, the name of the users who are actual people who have authority to give access to other people, your request will be facilitated to them. And as I said, there is a dedicated action center. Let me quickly show you that action center where all your requests land. And while I'm doing that, Mark, if you want to bring up any other question, I'll be happy to answer that.
Well, yeah, somebody is asking if there's a data quality issue. If the
Mhm.
data is not stored in Irwin, like in the back end of Irwin, it's only previewed. How that data can be curated and managed in the tool. So they're kind of asking about, how the data quality tool works if it's not storing the actual or collecting any actual data.
So what we're doing is we are running all of the measures and checks against the data source itself. The only
Mhm.
difference is we're not storing in the backend repository of our solution, and this is more so from a security perspective because our user base expands to different domains in different industries, and a lot of them are not comfortable putting their data in a different solution. So that's a very conscious effort or a step that was taken, from a security perspective. But in terms of, evaluating against profiling aspects, against data quality dimensions, against data quality measures and checks, all of that works exactly the same. It's just that, we are not storing data. We are evaluating all of those measures and checks against a data source and bringing back just the metadata with the information tied to it.
Awesome.
Mhm.
And I think Monique's handled a lot of the questions in chat here with some wonderful links to Irwin. So anybody out there in chat, if you don't have chat open, there's been a lot of great content posted and great links posted in there. So check those out.
And Mark, you asked a question around the action center, right? And this is
That's exactly
what
right. Yep.
once the request comes, is went out from the person who is requesting it, the requester can also within their bucket see how that request looks like. So these are all the different requests that I have put out, right?
Mhm.
Some of them are around monitoring the performance of the data sources and things like that. This is specifically around a data product access request, right? And it, as you can see, my request was approved. I was provided access to a data set as well, a data product as well, right? And this is the other end of that process. So what I showed you earlier was where you're requesting, but this is within your action center once that request has been approved, or even if you are in the waiting process. But as I said,
Mhm.
if it's the process of integrating it with a ServiceNow, things like that, that's up for implementation.
The ServiceNow, Jira, you guys pretty
Yeah.
much Slack, you kind of do everything. One thing I have some memories of implementing as part of like this data access request form is just how powerful the workflow engine is in here. And so when servicing these types of requests, can you build different workflows based on the request?
Oh yes. So the solution has an integrated workflow module as well, right? So when I was talking about the properties that you can see right over here on, whether it's published, whether it's draft, pending review, whatnot, all of that can be facilitated through an out-of-the-box workflow process, which goes against pretty much all of the different assets that you document as part of the solution. And that workflow is controlled through access of roles. So at each part of the workflow process, an individual can be assigned who has the responsibility to execute their tasks on that workflow process.
Awesome. Well, any last minute questions from chat? I'm not seeing anything, but thank you, chat. Oh, there is. If there are derived data elements in ETL, how do you view the code associated in the tool? So right in Lineage,
Uh-huh.
like if you're doing some transformations or a derived field in
Let me give you an example of that. So with one other of my models, AI models, I have an SSIS package somewhere embedded. Now, with my comment around our connectors being really mature, these are derived columns within the data flow, and this is, with SSIS taken into consideration. You can see over here these blue icons, which are transformations. These are really, what the actual transformations are. So our connectors, which I said range from ETLs to databases, so stored procs and things like that, we are able to parse code from those scripts and give you a visualization of not just the data flows, but also the transformation. So, just wanted to give you an example of the fact that whether it's a derived column, we are able to visualize that and even extract transformations for you.
speaking from experience, being able to see the code right in the lineage is always wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Nadeem, for this excellent presentation and being our final amazing presentation of the day.